What's up, fam bam? What's up, guys? We're just about to get started here. Waffle Skater, what's going on? Hopefully you guys are excited. Well, I know not everybody's exactly excited about what's been going on. Can't wait to hear everybody's opinion out there. As I'm getting these chat displays up, trying to work on this whole TikTok feed as well. What's up, LSG? Great to see you. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Fam bam, guys. Oh, looks like I got a poll already up. That was from the last stream, guys, so you don't have to answer that one. But just to ask you guys, and I'm sure you guys been pretty up to date already with the whole DLSS 5, and we're definitely going to talk about that. I know there's definitely quite a bit of mixed feelings about it, and I'd love to know what everybody is thinking about the whole DLSS 5 front here. / build says price my last build on PCPP yesterday. Everything but that's PC parts picker, by the way. So everything but memory and storage went down into price and went into increase in memory and storage prices. My build would be 1200. Oh my god, that is insane. What did you throw in there? Was it just like the regular storage devices that you already had planned, like all the different NVMe's? And while I'm talking to you guys, I do hopefully you guys don't mind. I'm just trying to get this whole TikTok feed all set up. I don't know if it really matters or not, but I'll add these guys because, yeah, just even more AI slop, right? Some people are not really feeling great about it. What did you think of the presentation of Resident Evil Requiem? And then they showed Starfield and quite a few other titles with the whole DLSS 5 front. Now, there's a bit of mixtures. It's a bit mixed because of course, NVIDIA just says it's just a little bit different when it comes to the whole side of lighting. But it's not only the lighting that has changed, there's obviously changes that has happened to the textures and the geometry of when it comes to the models. Does that really take away from what the artist intends when it comes to the game? Just like when you take a look at Grace and Leon, you have a certain aspect, a certain look you have in your mind when it comes to them. Now, when it was enhanced via DLSS 5, how did you really feel about that? So Waffle Skater says, I'm pissed. I was supposed to get my M.2 delivered today. And oh, Amazon, you better get that gift card. You know, anytime you start bitching to Amazon, anytime something like this does happen, you will get a gift card. It might not be much. It might be $5 or $10, but make sure you let them know, like, hey, I was expecting this, especially if you needed it for work or something. You never know. So Max Ogden says it's trash, but it's cool tech, but that wasn't it. And Bob Barkin says, NVIDIA is starting to crack. Time to sell the stock, but keep the GPU. It gets even funnier, which I'm definitely going to explain to you guys in a bit. Excuse me, guys, just trying to set this all up right now. I'm just getting this other live. It's kind of a pain of how they set this up on the whole TikTok side. But yeah, feel free to spew what you feel about the whole NVIDIA DLSS 5. I can't wait to share what I'm thinking about this whole issue. Of course, NVIDIA has always been the front runner when it comes to the latest tech, when it comes to gaming. They obviously came out with DLSS originally. Then they also had ray tracing, and they also had physics. They had different technology where they really combined into GPUs, and now they have DLSS 5, which I'm surprised they just didn't give it another title, especially because it emphasizes heavily on the whole AI side of things, especially when it comes to the art, when it comes to gaming. And the crazy part is, it's not just changeable when it comes in the game. It doesn't matter if you saw how it was re-rendered like Resident Evil. You could actually make them look like cartoon characters if you wanted to, as that was also emphasized on the whole DLSS 5 front. I'm not sure that there's a lot of people out there that wants to do that, or you can even have more capabilities of modding, as they say, such as turning them into, say, Lego figures. But yeah, I don't think a lot of people are too excited about it, to be honest. Um, there's quite a bit of mixed feelings of it, I can certainly say. So right now I'm just getting this up here. All right, perfect. Now I can get this up and running, guys. Excuse me a minute. But yeah, hopefully you guys had a great week so far. Hopefully it's been a lot better than Nvidia's week. I'm sure they're not expecting the week that they're having. I think they wanted jaws to literally drop on the ground when they came out with this tech here. So let's go ahead, and there we go. Now let me know how this stream goes. Let me know if it is somewhat clear. I would love to know from you guys, especially because if it has any weird buffering, because I am trying to run 4 different streams at the same time here. So Bob Parkinson says, right now we've reached the end of rasterization. NVIDIA is throwing darts and is hoping that is hoping something sticks. I'd say ray tracing, path tracing is barely sticking, but then there were failures. Anyone remember NVIDIA's 3D vision? That's true. There's been quite a few failures on NVIDIA's front that Bob Parkinson has brought up, which is valid. Just like the NVIDIA Shield, which was like they're supposed to be like their groundbreaking tech that people were going to use during gaming sessions, but it didn't really pan out as much. Like you could actually game straight from Steam, like to your TV. But again, not too many people were really big fans of it. There's a lot of innovation NVIDIA certainly did come out with, which just didn't pan out as expected. So it looks good on YouTube. Okay, awesome. Great to hear that, guys. And with this whole TikTok thing, it just seems like it's acting really strange. It's like the way it looks like it's not even loading. Let me see how it works here. Let me try that again here. There we go. Save out. Okay. Hopefully it works. OBS just updated, so you know how that can go. Okay, so without further ado, I'm definitely going to share this with you guys because it's Jensen Huang had something to say. Some people might not be happy. This comes straight from Tom's Hardware. Some guys may have heard of Jensen Huang's comments. If you guys are unfamiliar with who Jensen Huang is, he's practically the CEO of NVIDIA. So I'm going to show you exactly what was said here. So if you take a look, Jensen Huang says gamers are completely wrong about the DLSS 5. NVIDIA's CEO responds to the DLSS 5 backlash. And then as you progress a little further down, it says the CEO says artistic control remains with developers. When you go further down here, he said, well, first of all, they're completely wrong, right? That's what he says. Huang says in response to this question, and he said, the reason for that is because I have to explain very carefully. And it uses controllability of the geometrics and textures and everything about the game with generative AI. So as you progress a little bit further, he adds that developers can still fine-tune the generative AI. So if you don't quite like how the outcome is, it can be changed out of it. So he also adds that it does not change the geometry of the game, but it doesn't change the artistic control. So as we get further down here, Huang also said that developers can try new tools and try to do things like tune shaders, as I mentioned, which I don't think anybody wants to start messing with that. Even though I'm pretty sure he implied it as a joke. It's something that people are taking kind of seriously. They don't want to see just automatic AI just end up rendering their games for them. That's not what people are looking for when it comes to gaming. Now, all of the control and direct control goes to the game developer. And he said, this is going to be very different from generative AI. It's content controlled generative AI. Why it's called neural rendering. So practically what he's saying in this sentence is saying that it's not really going through a system similar to, say, like ChatGPT or Perplexity or Claude or whatever type of AI program that you use. It's not going through the generation. So it's not actually trying to manage to, just like frame gen. It's similar to that. That's what he's trying to say. It's not going through that type of process, but instead that this is all neural rendering, which is going to be practically from its own NPU. So it kind of gives a good indication that more than likely when it comes to these new GPUs that NVIDIA does plan on coming out with, especially the 6000 series, expect not only a GPU pretty much built into a 6000 series GPU, but they're also going to add things like an NPU, which will have some emphasis when it comes to this whole generation side. This also will affect upcoming thoughts when it comes to future consoles such as PlayStation 6, and when it comes to the new Xbox, the new generation of Xbox, because even though NVIDIA is the one that is coming out with this, we would all be kidding ourselves that AMD is not trying to think of a way of doing something in a similar manner, because they always end up being a little bit behind when it comes to this type of technology. Of course, they're going to look for a way to capitalize on it, but it all depends on how AMD plans it out. If they emphasize it a bit more, maybe they focus a bit more on the path tracing or ray tracing like they should. But if they choose to go into the same path as NVIDIA, would it be dangerous for AMD to continue, especially in their GPU cycles here? What's up, Igor? What's going on? But again, when it comes to this whole situation, when it comes to this whole DLSS 5, the truth is, when you take a look at this, right, which we're going to just play here, for example. Now, you take a look at this and you immediately can tell it's AI, right? It's obviously not a character that was modeled, even though it can look quite a bit more detailed. The big argument was that the lighting has changed drastically, just from this picture alone, from seeing Grace just standing here, right? Just standing here on the street, but you can see that one looks more like a photorealistic version as they describe it, and then you have the one that was obviously rendered through an artist. What's up, King Helios? Yeah, that's what I'm explaining here. What's up, Destiny? Good to see you. And that's the big problem. Everyone feels like it's kind of pretty much slop. And when you, let's play this real quick, because we got to play this, because I know you guys got to see this in action here. So you take a look at this. This is DLSS 5 off, and now it's on. So it literally looks like that it was processed through something like ChatGPT or any other type of program, really. As much as I hate to say it, I prefer the one on the right. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. That's your own personal opinion, ground game. That's how you feel. Which I will certainly talk a bit more. I'm definitely going to describe a bit more about what I think they're doing, which kind of reverts me back into the whole thesis of, like, they did come out with different items such as DLSS and ray tracing, and this is their version of their groundbreaking technology. So I am following that DLSS 5 news and PSSR2 for PS5 Pro. Lots of discussion and opinions. I agree, it's AI, as you said, Chris. Yes, and that's the thing. It looks too much like AI. Of course, it's, again, through this whole neural rendering, as he so describes. But no matter what, it still has to generate. So you can imagine how costly it's going to be. Because remember when they did create this whole DLSS 5, and in this sample, or in this demo, that they said that they specifically had to use two 5090 models. Now, tell me if I'm wrong here, but how many people out there have two 5090s in their PC? So I know it's a demo, I know they're just using it for example, but it's going to take a lot of processing power in order to do this. Hence why they're going to have its own NPU eventually when it comes to the whole 6000 series. So I can see it get a bit more expensive in that sense, but it depends on how detailed when it comes to their NPU versus the GPU. Will games truly be really needed will they really need artists, or will they just need stick figures practically, and they let the neural engine kind of figure out the rest? So I like the better lighting, but not the faces. I don't think my Pro 6000 Blackwell can beat two 5090s. Yeah, that's insane, right? Wonder if AMD is gonna follow. I hope not. That's the true question here. So 25090s, yeah, that's another reason why it's a bad idea. What's up, Weenie? Good to see you. And as we progress here, again, here we go. They're going to show off another game where they show another model, just like Leon, right? Immediately you can see the big difference. Now the big key difference in this is the lighting. Now this doesn't look as bad. It doesn't look as photorealistic, but it looks more like an illustration. Even though it's supposed to depict some sort of photorealism, it doesn't truly look like photorealism. It's not too bad, but to be able to continuously generate this in a game, it's just questionable. How well do you think it's going to truly be able to stick to this exact look? It's going to not look great. I could just imagine like how the original AI videos were. It's not going to be 100% smooth, and you can imagine how messy it's going to get, especially when it comes to the frames. What's up, Jay Sino? He has a I hit the like button in my no problem, T-Dun. Thank you for letting everybody know this. So AMD already has some sort of AI helper in the Adrenaline Center, but you have to check the box to install it, and I don't want you know what that is? That's because AMD has recently been doing a thing where you can actually generate different art if you'd like. You just type in the command, type whatever you imagine. It's kind of like gimmicky type of thing that they're doing, but I guess it's a little bit of fun just to show the power of what you can do with their current GPU. Now, as we progress later into this DLSS 5 video here, you have Hogwarts Legacy, right? And then immediately they put the frame generation on there, and now she looks like a real old lady, right? Allegedly like a real old lady. So it would be better if it did not add deep wrinkles at age like 20 years. Exactly. I think that's the big thing. I think that's what pissed off a lot of people more than anything, that it completely alters the look. Now, I'm not sure how artists feel about it. It's kind of funny how they're a little bit silent, and the reason why they're silent is for obvious reasons. They don't want to look like a shill for the industry, so they're afraid of saying how they feel truly. If there's any artists in here, I would love to know what your current thoughts of DLSS 5 are, and especially for those who are in the whole video game industry. I would personally love to hear from you guys, to hear what you think, because from what I've heard from many other video game enthusiasts that are into creating games, they're not a big fan when it comes to AI art, and for obvious reasons, because it's more like, again, it's all from a database where AI already has a record base of everything that's been pretty much on the internet. They just kind of put everything all together from what they can find on the internet, however you describe it. So it's kind of a mixed bag, again, when it comes to the art side. From what Jensen Huang is really saying is that this is more or so just adding a bit more detail to the art, and it's not really destroying the artist's image. How true is that really? So honestly, the DLSS 5 makes the video too much emphasized. Jensen wrong. and he immediately responded. I mean, it only took a day for him to respond. I mean, how pissed do you think he was when he went onto any of these social media websites and he sees the mockery of DLSS 5 off and DLSS 5 on? I mean, just take a look at all the memes. So Bob Arkin says, I am a game developer. Technically, I'm not interested in using DLSS for my projects. In fact, I am against DLSS, as I feel it's a way for developers to be lazy about game optimizations. That I'm glad you had mentioned that, because that's kind of how I feel about when it comes to things like ray tracing and DLSS. Yes, they're great technologies. They're awesome for what they do. They're great at making games look even more detailed than what they are. The biggest problem is it does take away from the actual art for those who actually want to add the details of, for example, adding the sunlight and actually having the sunlight actually reflect off of, say, a river. all of that can be actually added into a game without using ray tracing. Ray tracing is actually more of a shortcut for you to be able to take advantage of it. Now you have DLSS 5 where you don't even have to make the waves practically in, say, in the water. Now you can actually have the river just have waves from the whole generation. So this AI situation is getting out of hand for a lot. I agree. It's just insane. It's pretty much in everything now. So I saw his response. He already has an explanation for defending the new tech. It's pretty sad. This is where this video is actually coming from. His explanation on where this tech is coming from, like what it's really based off of. So here it is with DLSS 5 on, and now it just looks like, you know, the funny thing is, think about these older games, right? Back then. You know what it kind of makes me think of? And I know some of you guys out there who are definitely from the generation of, say, Sega Genesis, or back when the Super Nintendo, where you had Mortal Kombat, where they actually had real people in the game. Do you guys remember that? They actually used real people and they put mocaps on them in order for them to be added to the game. It kind of has that look, right? Doesn't it? It kind of gives it more of that look instead of the actual, like to actual bring art into the game. It's almost like we're kind of going back in time a little bit with this, because technically we can do this if you want to do it with real people, but now they're just doing it with the art, as they so call it. Now, Bob Barkinson says, ray tracing, path tracing, on the other hand, I feel is beneficial, especially for the games that utilize day and night cycles. For my project, however, I'm using fixed scenes, so I'm using old static shadow maps to create my vision. That's pretty awesome. Would love to see the different projects that you're working on. Now, as we continue here, here's Starfield. Starfield, of course, isn't that great visually, but then, of course, you have this magic change once they add the whole DLSS 5, and some people may like the enhanced look to it. So I am a Super Nintendo guy, and Mortal Kombat as well. Mid-90s, yes. And frame generation is used instead of optimizing games as well. And that's a big problem, especially today, like when it comes to the hardware space. Now, of course, we're definitely going to take a look at that when it comes to the hardware area. Of course, solid state drives have gone up tremendously as RAM has been kind of holding steadily, and there's been a decent reason for that, as we all know that RAM was the one that increased dramatically compared to everything else. Now SSDs are just pretty much catching up to the whole RAM side. Same thing when it comes to the whole video cards. That's going to eventually end up ramping up, as you guys saw in the whole what MSI pretty much had said, that they scaled back 20 to 30% of GPUs in order for them to be able to take advantage of this whole AI side that they've been so focused on. Now, I think it's a great idea for NVIDIA to just pretty much split off a GeForce and let it be its own company at this point. Now, NVIDIA could still be, of course, part of it, but it is losing a bit of identity. NVIDIA seems like it's more of an identity crisis today, where you're not sure if it's truly for the gamers anymore. Now, have you ever heard, just like how Jensen Huang, which I'll get back to the video in a bit, just like how he says right here, gamers are completely wrong, right? So have you ever heard any industry really say that the customer is wrong? When is the customer wrong? That's when you have to realize that you're headed in the wrong direction. If the customers are so wrong, then why do you have to state it? Why do you have to prove people wrong? Like, this is what DLSS 5 is going to happen practically whether you like it or not. That's what Jensen Huang is practically saying, which isn't a great thing for gamers, as long as, of course, you support NVIDIA in order to purchase their GPUs. That's always going to be the way. You're always going to, of course, support the whole AI initiative that Jensen Huang really does have planned for NVIDIA. Now, on the good side of things, I can say, the fact that the fact that NVIDIA has been quite the innovator when it comes to games, such as they were the first ones to really innovate, like when it comes to graphics, when it comes to PC gaming, and the same thing when it came to using physics with their GPUs, and also taking advantage of ray tracing and taking advantage path tracing, and of course you have the whole DLSS and you have DLAA, and they have all these great features when it comes to gaming. Now, what really makes DLSS 5 so different? Now, of course, every time they came out with some sort of new version, when they came out with a new version of ray tracing, or when they came out with a new version of DLSS, or when they came out with the whole physics with their GPUs, there was always some sort of controversy around it. There was a lot of hate around it. Remember when ray tracing first came out? It wasn't that great. It wasn't beautiful. It was questionable. People found it kind of pointless. So people didn't really accept it at first. But now when it comes to DLSS 5, pretty much the same thing has happened, the same cycle. People are hating it. But at the same time, some people are accepting it. So what makes this case so unique? What makes it so different from the prior innovations that NVIDIA has come out with? I would love to hear what you guys personally think about this, and why you feel that DLSS 5 is this terrible. So Sweeney says, because he doesn't care about the customers, we don't have the money to serve us. It sure seems that way. So NVIDIA could not care less for gamers. We are less than 10% of the revenue source. Absolutely. King Helios is correct. If GeForce becomes its own company, it would be a way better for us. I agree. I think if GeForce became its own company, they would listen to the gamers more. I feel like it would be more for those who are actually into gaming, instead of trying to innovate something new for AI. I get his whole purpose of showing that AI is the new wave, that this isn't just AI slop, which he gets pretty pissed when people call it that. Same thing with Microsoft. They get pretty pissed when people call it AI slop, because they put so much emphasis of who the creator is of this whole AI side of things and how they use it, whether it determines it to be AI slop or not. But nobody is really looking forward to having AI generated. Well, as he says, it's not AI generated, it's neural generated, so it's coming from a whole different system here. So I wouldn't be surprised if in the next few years, if NVIDIA only makes high-end GPUs, and if that's any. What's up, Zane? Oh yeah, you built that PC. So, and this is why DLSS 5, DLSS was upscaler since when it is a filter. Yes, and that's the thing. He calls it just pretty much like a filter. It's not that much different. If the whole purpose of DLSS was to really change the shadowing, the lighting, but not truly the architecture. Maybe add a little bit of details, like as we took a look at the video when we were looking at Black Myth Wukong, where you got to see a bit more of the details, where DLSS really emphasizes it a bit more compared to DLSS 5, where it's going to look like pretty much like taken out of the real world. So it's not going to have true to life imagery, if that makes sense. When you take a look at things, it's going to look more like a photo. And for them to be able to process this, to be able to process the graphics, for them to be able to neural process, which is also going to require a different NPU eventually. So this is, again, more of an indication of what we can expect for the 6000 series. Remember how we were talking about how the RTX series is pretty much the last of its line. Like, for example, you had the RTX 20 series, which was the first of its kind. Now, prior to anything before the RTX 20 series is the GTX. And the GTX is pretty much gone today. They got rid of it pretty much last year, that they are no longer upgrading GTX cards. And because once they do something like that, you can expect that a whole new generation can certainly happen, which is happening today. Or I should say within this week, where DLSS 5 is trying to kind of emphasize on that. So we have a pretty good feeling, as we all spoke about this, where we all had an idea where NVIDIA was going to call these new GPUs pretty much AI. So you can imagine that it's no longer going to use the RTX name. It's not going to be called the RTX 6090, for example. You can certainly expect maybe the 1000 AI or the 1090 AI. They're going to have their own AI name through this to really emphasize gaming. But if we're thinking about if they're going to add an NPU plus a GPU, which is going to be pretty much Rubin, that's going to be in the new GPU, it's going to be, well, expensive. Just see how expensive it is today, like when you purchase a RTX 5090. RTX 5090 on the low end, the cheapest RTX 5090 you can purchase today. In fact, we'll go to Micro Center to find that cheapest RTX 5090. It's not, I'll tell you what, it's not going to be under $3,000. So if you take a look at the cheapest, oh, now it's doing this whole nice verification. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so the cheapest 5090, let's go lowest priced because we're trying to find the cheapest one, is $3,000, but they're sold out. So the cheapest is $3,000. So imagine a high-end one where it's neural processing with a GPU. It's going to be expensive. So imagine, I like that. AIX. Oh, that's funny. What's up? What's up, Perineum? So you said, hi man, if you tell me a setup, I'm going to buy whether it's good or not. I'm not an expert. I'm a professional esports player on Valorant. Awesome. Feel free to post it. I would love to see your setup. 1690 Ti possible. Any LS integrated graphics is going to be fast as low-end cards, where it is going to be eliminating the end of the market, which is going to be uneconomical. Agreed. I could build a whole 5080 build and set up for that price. Isn't that the crazy part? You literally could do a full, you heard that, everybody? King Helios can do a full build with a 5080 for the price of this RTX 5090. That just shows you how out of touch NVIDIA could truly be. Again, the MSRP, you saw the video, the original MSRP for a 5090 was $2,000. So manufacturers will be segregating in the high end. It seems like it's Lexar Aries LD5U16G60 C28BR RGD. Okay, so that's your RAM sticks. So you have 32 gigabytes of DDR5. That's awesome and very expensive today. But they're good. They're very good, actually. I'm assuming you're putting it in an AMD system. Are you just asking about your RAM sticks? So the 9050 X3D for CPU. Okay, that's a good choice. I was able to get the Astral to start in a month for $35.09. Damn. At least you got it for $200 cheaper than what they're charging for it now, because it's absolutely crazy. You take a look at the Astral today. Let's see. Where is the Astral hiding at? Let's go highest price, because I know it's going to be one of the higher cards here. So the Astral, they don't even have it in stock. I have to add in that they actually bought them all out. So let's see, include out of stock items. Oh, I went highest rated. I gotta go to the most expensive, highest price. And we don't want PCs. And here it goes. Where's the Astral? I know you're here. Here's the Astral, 3509. So okay, so currently it's at 3509. I know for a fact it's at 3709 once they get back in stock. So it's like $200 more than what it should be. So I have an X870E for the e-gaming, and you have 5070 Ti for a GPU. That's a awesome combination. For esports, that's a great choice to actually have together. Now, what type of display are you using? I'm assuming you're using a high refresh rate monitor. So can you recommend an inexpensive gaming? Yes, they have the Asus ROG Strix. A great monitor. It's the 279 specifically, and you can actually get it for around that $200 range. It's like 240 or 250, but I will share the link with you if you're interested in checking it out. And they do also have a 4K variant that you can go for, which is also inexpensive as well. It's not badly priced if that is what you're looking for. So Valorant is the CPU bound game. That's the reason why the best one I could get. Well, see, the 9850 X3D, you did absolutely well. Honestly, it would have been great if you had the 9800 X3D just as well. But that is going to be that's a good choice to go with, especially gaming wise. Now it depends on the display. Again, I'm assuming you have a high display, high rate monitor here. What's up, Wasabi? I just saw your video, by the way. I just saw your Warhammer. It was a great video, by the way. A very hot fan. New game, new gaming PC today. Awesome. I can't seem to pick one. What's up, Z-Man? So, which is better for you, the RX 7600 XT or the RTX 4060? Now, if you're to pick between the two, I would say between the two, I would go with the RX. RX 7600 is a great choice, but the RTX 4060 has the edge just a bit. Not a lot, but just a bit more. So, not bad considering it's 4 to 5K on Amazon. So, 600, yeah, so 600 hertz. And just to let you know, and what type of display? Is it at 2K, I'm assuming? At the 21, is it the, what is it? The 2160, I believe it is? Or is it the, are you playing on a WGA type of display? Because if you are, you should be able to handle it without a doubt. Yeah, it's no problem, Wasabi. See, but you're talking 16 gigabytes versus 8 gigabytes. Well, the thing is, you're not going to take advantage of the 16 gigabytes completely, unless you're going full. Okay, 1080p. Yeah, you have no problem doing that when you're 5070. And more than likely, you're not going to go for the best graphics. By the way, you're not going to look for the best quality. You want to get the best performance out of your PC. So TechNote says, I learned my lesson. I would have saved about $2,000 back in December. But I built my PC about 1 week ago, ended up buying 64 gigabytes of DDR5 and one 4 terabyte M.2 driver. So I got one 2 terabyte M.2 drive. Prices are insane now. Absolutely. And he's not kidding. Like, if you haven't seen the prices when it comes to SSDs, you might be shocked. I'm warning you, if you are sensitive, if your heart is sensitive, beware of the pricing here. $400 for a 2 terabyte Samsung 990. And the pricing even for these, actually it dropped down a little bit because the Samsung 9100, they were demanding $500 for it, but it dropped down to $419. So again, the pricing is extremely high for when it comes to NVMEs. So Warhammer is insanely good. Yeah, a lot of people do love that franchise. I've been playing, I actually played one of their games recently, but it's more of their first-person shooter version of it, which wasn't bad. Thank you for subscribing. You have an RTX 5060, nice. I used the 12 gigabyte and 1440 with my 7600 XT, awesome, and up to 12 gigabytes depending on the game. A brand called XSN has dropped on Amazon a 16 terabyte SSD. Really? That is insane. That is crazy. Also, bro, you look well, but not gonna lie, you hit the gym. Yeah. Yes, I do hit the gym. Thank you. Thank you very much. Make sure you do exercise. Do not rely on DLSS 5 to make it look good. But by the way, let's go over here. We're gonna go on to talk about this whole DLSS 5. Call it the whole AI generation gates. Again, I love what he says here. The reason for this is because I have explained very carefully DLSS 5. It looks... So, bro, it's... Thank you. Damn, I got 9100 2 terabytes on a discount of $200. Really? That's actually a good deal. Like, in order for you to get the 2 terabyte version of 9100, it almost seems unheard of today. In 2 weeks, I am headed back to the gym. Yeah, I remember those videos you used to send, Wasabi. You used to send it all the time up on the Discord too. Like, of all the deadlifts, keep at it. I know you got it in you. I know you've been dying to work out too. But Jensen Huang has been saying the reason for this is because I've explained very carefully about DLSS 5 and that it's control the controllability of geometry and textures and everything with the games with generative AI. So he's saying that don't worry, everything is pretty much under control. It's going to look great once it comes out. And DLSS 5 is supposed to debut within this year, by the end of this year. So that was back last year. A motherboard B860M Max Gaming AX. Okay, is that where you're headed for? And also, guys, just to let you guys know, we are going to do a Micro Center stream within the next week, as the Intel 270K will be coming out. I'm still quite undecided. I'll let you guys really choose. Let me know what you guys are feeling, whether we should go get the 270K on the day it releases, or should we wait till the weekend to kind of grab everything together, which is going to include the two builds, which is going to be the Intel 270K build, and which is going to be Project Aorus, and we do have Project Metal that's on its way too. So Jensen is a clown. I thought he was done with gaming. How come he's still around with his BS features? You know, the thing is, one of the biggest things you gotta know, and I hate to say it, but Microsoft was right about this whole situation of what they said. And I don't really intend to agree with Microsoft on a lot of things. For example, their updates, I highly don't agree with them. But I do have to agree that Microsoft did make a point that Jensen Huang and NVIDIA would not be where they are today if it wasn't for us, for everybody that is here in this chat, for all you gamers out there. We made NVIDIA who they are today. So for Jensen Huang to kind of do exactly what he did here when it comes to NVIDIA and trying to, as he feels like he's giving back to us. In his sense, he feels like he's doing us a great favor with the DLSS 5. But in reality, we want to tell him go kick some rocks, because I don't know where his head is at, because this is, where did he lose us when it comes to the gamer side? Where the reality of things here is that gamers, it's really simple actually for gamers. And tell me if I'm right or am I wrong here. So for us gamers, it's a very simple thing for us to be happy. It's not even about this whole DLSS 5. It's not about even ray tracing. It's about none of that. Really, it's about having fair pricing when it comes to graphics cards. If we have that, then we would be stoked about everything that they come out with. I don't think we would care as much, but to keep pricing the bar higher and higher is where they are losing us and losing the original community. And that's something where he has to face and he has to understand, because once he really loses his true base and tries to switch to a whole different, whole AI crowd, just so to say, it's not going to be exactly the same as he thought it was going to be. Because for years, we've always supported NVIDIA. Anytime we saw NVIDIA involved into some sort of project or come out with some new product, they would have the gamer support. But today, you can sense that it's a bit different. So King Helios says, I'm getting that 270K the moment it drops. Doesn't sound like a bad choice. It doesn't, the biggest thing I'm afraid of is if I wait until the weekend to head over to Micro Center to go ahead and do the stream, that they'll run out of 270Ks. And then I would be completely assed out. So 2 terabytes, 32 gigabytes DDR5. I have one today, new gaming PC. So Winnie says, because 6000 series may never come out or be late. Yeah, I see the 6000 series actually it's definitely not going to come out this year. And for everyone that's expecting the whole 5000 series Super, it's not going to happen. I hate to say, it's really not going to happen now, especially with their heads in the cloud with the DLSS 5 here. I see the whole 6000 series, or whatever the new series is going to be called for Ruben, it's going to end up releasing in 2027. And the reason why I believe it's going to be 2027 is because you have the new consoles that are coming out. And usually that always lines up when a new GPU is released as well. So Wasabi says Jensen lost the plot back in 2020 when he started cashing more money. Yeah, we should have got a good indication of that, in fact. Like, remember when he started trying to come out with GPUs with the 30 series where they were specifically built for mining? And what happened? What happened to those GPUs? Never heard from them again. You never see them making those alternate versions for mining anymore. It's completely changed over to AI. So what is different about this phase? Is this truly the future that everybody is looking forward? So do a Saturday stream for Micro Center trip. I hope I get to wake up in time for to watch you shop. Don't worry, with the Micro Center trips, usually I'll go live around 10 a.m. And the reason being is I can't go live any earlier because Micro Center isn't open any earlier than 10 a.m. If I go a bit earlier, you might see me eat breakfast, but I won't be in the store. You won't be really missing anything until I go inside the store. Why do you think they are pushing cloud service gaming? They don't want us owning anything. Some people truly believe this. Do you? I'm going to throw a poll out there because I haven't got to throw a poll actually during this stream just quite yet. I apologize for that, guys. I know you'll love answering these polls here. So I'm going to actually ask this to everybody out here. That do you believe that cloud gaming is the way they want us gamers to go? So do you believe cloud gaming is where gamers are forced to go? So you can answer yes or no, and I'm going to put the poll up here. Do you believe that cloud gaming is where gamers are forced to go? So if you believe it, put 1 for yes, put 2 for no. So feel free. Okay, I got you, JCino. I'll hit you up with the link. I'll pull it up. Let me see. I think I could find it relatively quick here. Let me see. Of course, this thing doesn't work. All right, so let me see. If I pull it up, I'll put it up for everyone. And just to let everyone know, this is an affiliate link here for anyone that is interested in this specific monitor, which is the Asus. Let me see. Just pulling up now here, and let me see. There it is. I actually found it right away. Perfect. It is this one here, and there you go. This is one of them right there. That's it. You can purchase it from Amazon, Newegg, or whichever type of store that you prefer, and you can get it for a good deal. So do you believe? Yeah, so many of you guys believe that cloud gaming is the way that where a lot of gamers are forced because of how expensive it's getting. So if you'll ever need some info for a comparison between me with the i7 265K with the 5070 Ti and the i7 270K with the 50. Oh yeah, for sure, Wasabi. Yeah, we'll definitely got to do something together. We'll do some sort of collaboration soon. Yeah, no problem, Jacino. So honestly, the PC hardware market is not going well. RAM and SSD prices are increasing with AI. NVIDIA's monopoly over the GPU market with its stupid CUDA cores when they basically not caring. Intel really not as invested in the CPU market. See, you know where the problem is also, I agree with King Helios, is the fact that everyone is lost in the sauce when it comes to AI. Everyone is to this AI rush, much similar to the gold rush back then when that originally did happen. So everyone's rushing to find the gold, which is AI. AMD it's not that they care, I think they truly wanted to compete. I think they saw the opportunity, but what they were afraid of is the fear of missed opportunity, which is the gold rush, which is for them AI. That's why they put so much emphasis on focusing on data centers and things like things that we're not interested in as gamers, to be honest. It's going to be more focused on servers, server racks, and also creating more AI so that way they're able to do so, which is, again, they want to create that extra memory so that way they can get it done. They feel that whoever ends up winning this race, whoever finds this a magical AI key that will end up ruling pretty much the whole tech industry. So that's why you have AMD, you have Nvidia, you have Microsoft, you name any tech company out there. Even Razer is involved in this whole AI race. Whoever gets there, whoever finds the most demand will be the winner. That's how they look at it. But the crazy thing is, this could end up blowing up in everyone's face, which is the crazy part. So, what's up, Robert Cross? Thank God I bought 2 sets of RAM sticks of 32 gigabytes each back in January of 2025 for 250 euros. So I hope the watching these lives are invested in all. Hey, I know these companies are tuning in. I'm pretty sure that some of these companies are tuning in, and they probably, if just to let you guys know, I am not. I am just speaking everything that I think and the truth. But if something did ever happen to me, just know I would never do that to myself. So AMD never missed an opportunity to miss a opportunity. So, oh no, not Razer, the guys who bought Oya and shot it. Yes. Who remembers Oya? Oya, that legendary device there. So, my SSDs and RAMs have already tripled in price. I just wish I won't have any more SSDs prick in Windows. If I get one more, I swear I'll be switching Linux for all. I don't blame you. It's been crazy. So with SSDs, it's just been too out of control. It's insane to look into your drawer, because how many guys out there are pretty much guilty of having, say, a 1 terabyte drive just sitting? Like, maybe you have 1, maybe you have 2, maybe even up to 3, where you just decided to upgrade your 1 terabyte drive to, say, a 4 terabyte drive. And now you have these 1 terabyte drives that are sitting pretty much are valued and worth at $200. Now, of course, no one's going to buy it at $200, but the value of the SSD now has gone up tremendously. So, will the prices ever go down for storage? I think I would highly hope so. It's almost to the point where it's a bit scary, because here, let's go take a look at the SSDs. And the reason why I say it's a bit scary when it comes to the whole SSD side, I'll turn off the polls. It looks like we mostly got yes. We believe that cloud gaming is going to be the way to go. I'll put up another poll in a little bit. Now, the reason why I say this is scary the way it is because this is now going to be, we're not sure if this is going to be really a true normal now. If you notice that all the pricing for when it comes to RAM, how many people have looked at RAM now and said, oh, $400 for 32 gigabytes of CL30 is not that bad of a deal. That's almost at the level we're at now. We're getting used to it, which isn't a great thing, because originally you could purchase it for about a little bit over $100. In order for you to get some CL30 with 6,000 megahertz, wasn't that too crazy expensive. But now it's literally 4 times what you originally purchased it for. Maybe more like 3 times of what you originally purchased it for. So is 3 times the price going to be the new average? Is this going to be the new normal? As of today, as of 2026, this is going to be considered normal. Not until we won't really truly see a full out change, until there is an overproduction of wafers, which unfortunately isn't happening, because all the wafers that are currently being produced today in the whole AI, for the fabs, the chip fabs, everything that's being produced today is already bought. So that's why there's the shortage, because anything that they are producing is pretty much bought throughout the year into 2027, even up to 2028 at the latest. But 2027 seems like that's the more realistic end of it. Hopefully they end up canceling more orders, or they end up not being able to afford the bill of having these wafers. If they're not, that's more wafers that will be available. Then you would see some sort of change when it comes to pricing. That's the only time you'll see change, is once you see the demand pretty much drop from these AI companies, and now they have all these wafers where they don't know what to do with, where they're forced to put it out into the market to create RAM or SSDs, and they'll end up having to take their loss if, say, For example, OpenAI didn't purchase it all. So that's the only way for the short way of it to happen if they end up declining, or they end up having not they don't have the cash really to be able to purchase these wafers. That's the only way that it'll end, unfortunately. So I have to be honest, the latest Noctua case looks good, but the details of the you know, it's funny, they're really trying to sell us on the wood side of things. Antec has been on the ball, I gotta say. Speaking of which, I switched to Linux 2 days ago. How do you feel about it, by the way, Mom? Catchy OS is running great, but it's pushing me to get rid of dual monitor setup. Should I get a triple 4K or 120 or an ultra wide? Go ultra wide, man. Yeah, you'll love it. Ultra wide is wonderful. Once you go ultra wide, it's really hard to go back, to be honest. I was supposed to have 2 terabytes sitting on my front porch when I oh, that's so frustrating. Did you contact Amazon? Tell them that you were supposed to get your 2 terabyte SSD. I actually looked up the first time I built a PC back in 2016. I bought 16 gigabytes of DDR4 Dominator RAMs for $200. I loved how they looked too, like how sleek they looked. They had the DDR4 sticks that had they had specifically the black ones. I remember where they I gotta say they were unique compared to DDR5. For some reason, I feel like they had a better look to it. I got my 4 terabyte drive from China. It was cheaper. Oh wow, that's kind of funny. I have a feeling when OpenAI crashes, there's going to be, and that's the thing. That's exactly what would happen. It would be like a huge liquidation sale. You know how many people are going to be at a Micro Center or at a Best Buy once everything goes up to liquidation? Like all of a sudden they have an oversupply of RAM. Just imagine. It would be like a dream. You walk into a Best Buy, you walk into a Micro Center, and you see these big boxes, and they all have RAM in them because they had so much of it, so much of an oversupply of wafers, and they're just filled to the brim with RAM. And now you can finally purchase RAM for a fair deal. It's no longer $400 because now the store just wants to get rid of it. They just need it out of the shelf because it's taking up too much space. I can't wait for that day. OpenAI would have gone bankrupt of Q4 of 2026 if not for Nvidia dropping 20 billion. You know, the funny thing is about Nvidia, about how they said that they were not going to invest so much money to them. If you guys got to see that clip, I put it into one of the videos about how Jensen Huang said specifically that he was not going to give them, I think it was 100 billion if I'm not mistaken. He said, I'm not giving them $100 billion. It was never promised, but I said I will look into it and invest whatever we can from Nvidia into OpenAI. And I think that crushed Sam Altman's heart right there. So I need TSMC to build us a factory way bigger than it is. And that's the problem. Now, the thing is, now everyone is curious about like, why is there such a problem with wafers? Can't they just make more factories? Yes, they can. The problem is a lot of these investors know this. They know that they can make more factories. There is a reason why they're not doing it. It's because they still feel that AI is too high of a risk. They feel that they're not making enough money to say to invest more money into fabs. Otherwise, they would. For now, the temporary fix that they are currently doing is purchasing old semiconductor factories where they're not really being used as frequently. They've been purchasing old semiconductor factories in Taiwan in order to continue production, to expand it. But they do ask investors like, hey, can you give us a little bit more so that way we can keep up with supply for not just AI, but for the consumer base? And the investors practically said, no, I don't. OpenAI isn't making us money. We're losing money. Every time we give money to OpenAI, it just never comes back. It seems like a black hole. That anything we invest into OpenAI or any other AI firm, we're just losing money. And the only ones that are making somewhat of money is Google Gemini. They're the only ones that are truly making a little something out of it, but everyone else is losing money on the AI front. So investors can only invest so much, and now they want to see a return. Without this return, any proof of return on investments, they're not going to spend any more money as it is. So they had a silver, black, red. Yes, because they had different variations about that. Also, Nvidia's gatekeeping DLSS on newer gens make people wait for brand new 60 series. That's a thing. That's exactly the trap. Oh, Omar, you're absolutely right. They want the 60 series to come out. What we're gonna get is a taste of DLSS 5, and when this whole new generation comes out, this is what real DLSS 5 is going to look. Again, like if you want to experience it, they're going to say, hey, you can still experience it on your old GPU. You still want to experience it on the 5090, you can. It has the capability, yay, right? You have the capability. But in order to play at a decent frame and with the photorealism, we do recommend you to buy a second 5090 while you're at it. Or you just go ahead and buy the new AI 1000 or whatever they decide to call it for maybe say $4,000, right? Maybe they charge $4,000 with the extra MPU that's in there. They'll say, well, you can sell your 5090 and you can buy the you can purchase the whole 1000 AI and you'll end up saving like $1,500. You don't have to buy another RTX 5090 if you go that route. And that almost seems like the way it's headed. They want everyone to go ahead, rush in, and purchase the new and latest tech. And again, it gets so questionable. And the capabilities of now you're relying on frame generation plus DLSS 5. So I have simpler explanation. They are buttholes. That's funny. Let me see here. Oh, great. Where is that at? Sorry, guys. I'll go ahead and get the band hammer for Supreme there. So do you think that the previous generation of Arrow Lake in particular won't be produced anymore after refresh? I don't think so, no. Honestly, I think they'll just stick to 250K and the 270K, and that's going to be pretty much it. I really was hoping to see 290K, but expect the 285K to still constantly be produced. As for my switch to Linux, it's mostly great. Sadly, OpenRGB can't detect my RAM if it's too new, but I like how customizable I can make my desktop. It's pretty awesome, right? The flexibility. How are you liking figuring out everything as like updating and doing things like figuring out the new kernels, and it's quite a different experience, right? But it's not bad. The best part is like you don't really use that many system resources when you are on Linux. So Flapjack says, our lease, your there you go. Lease your second. Yeah, don't give them any ideas now. They're probably like, hey, we like that. We like that idea. Lease or you can combine GeForce Now. You can combine GeForce Now with your 5090, and you get the true DLSS 5 power there. I bought my PC last week. My old motherboard. Oh, really? What happened? What happened with your motherboard? How did it explode? Was the VRM too high? Was it the capacitor that ended up blowing? So I went from an i5 9600K Intel to an RTX 2060 6GB and went to a 1TB ASUS A-Strix 550B. Okay, that's quite the change there. I gotta say, that's quite interesting. So you went from an i5 9600K RTX 2060 6GB over to a 550B, the DDR4. What motherboard did you go to? Or is that the motherboard I'm assuming is the one that blew up was the Asus Strix, was it? It can't be the 550 because that's AMD there. What motherboard was it that exploded for you? So the 270K feels like the 285K, right? It sounds like it's almost the same specs. It's just a little bit different. The difference is the clock speeds on it. The cores are not going to match up, obviously. It's going to be closer to the 265. But it'll be great for anyone that is looking to have that ability to be able to game with a Intel processor. 270K would be the one to go. The 285K would be more for those who are interested in things like using it for rendering. Things like using it for, say, you're more into video editing. Like things like that, the 285K would be a bit better for when it comes to the multi-cores. but the 270K would definitely be more beneficial for those. We're looking at it strictly for more like of lighter use and for gaming. So now the Asus 650BF gaming motherboard. Oh, okay. Now you have the 650FB 650. Oh, I'm trying to get your words straight here. The B650, I'm assuming. The B650? And you have the Asus F Gaming motherboard. Oh, that's a good choice. So you're into so you're into the new generation pretty much now. How do you like it compared to your older motherboard there? That's pretty wild that actually happened on Arc Raiders. How long did it actually take for it to blow up? Was it the capacitor that blew up? So the question is whether the 270K is going to have no, actually. Okay, so if anyone's curious about the pricing when it comes to Intel, the 270K is actually going to be priced actually really well. It's going to be $300 USD, and for the 250K, it's actually going to be priced at $200 USD. So they're both priced phenomenally. So if you're looking for a pretty decent build, especially if you're going through Micro Center to look for the build, I wonder if they even have it. Let's take a look. Did they actually post it? Let's take a look here. No, they didn't. Because sometimes you can purchase the processors and you can pick them up at Micro Center. Unfortunately, they didn't. But you can actually purchase it again for a very good deal. $200 for the 250K. The 270K is only $300. Now the 285K, that's going to be priced, I think, at like $535, about something like that, or $545. It's going to be a bit on the higher end, but not everyone's going to need a 285K processor. Yeah, $540. So if they did come out with a 290K, it'd probably be closer to the $600 range. I think that's why they didn't put it out, because they wanted to match the pricing a bit better. So, oh, that's the other motherboard. You right, the 6 to 7 years. I don't remember. 550. Yeah, that's why I was thinking it had to be the 550 then. The 650 is the B650, I would assume. I purchased Trident Z5 Neo RGB to 32 gigabytes for 1,299 Canadian dollars. The next day, the same store drops it. Oh my god! I returned it and purchased it again at the lower cost. That makes sense. The next day, it goes, wow. Talk about the timing you found that. That's pretty dope that you found it at a good price and they were willing to refund it. Do you mind dropping the store's name? Or is it more of a smaller store? You don't want to expose them. My SSD has appreciated more price than my RAM. I think if everybody looks at their rig and you look at your specifications, I'm sure that your PC has gone up about roughly about 2 to 3 times worth than what it originally was. Congratulations, for the first time you built a PC that hasn't depreciated, which is quite insane, right? Usually you hold a PC for 2 or 3 years, it's half or even less than half of what it's worth. And now somehow your PC is now worth more than what you purchased it for, which is insane. So yeah, RAM, I had to buy 390, I think, for 32 gigabytes. Oh, euros. Yeah, that sounds about right. That's about the right pricing. So when to actually get a Z890 and not the B860? Like, what's the advantage of the Z8? Okay, so the biggest difference between the B860 and the Z890 is you're going to have more lanes to take advantage of. If you're looking to use more lanes, if you're looking to use more things like PCI Express 5, and more features such as faster Ethernet, like internet connection, and you want to have like a little bit more upgrades, then the Z890 would be the way to go. The B860 is more for those who are just looking to get a good deal on a budget, like on an Intel PC, but without spending the premium cost that a Z890 would cost. So I would say if you want to take advantage of say as many lanes, that you prefer just to use it just for strictly gaming, just say a B860 you'd be perfectly happy with. Now, if you are going to take advantage of the lanes and you want to take advantage of a few of those extra features, the Z890 would be the better way to go, especially if you're thinking of taking advantage of things like content creation, where you can take advantage of, say, like Thunderbolt, where a lot of people will certainly love from Intel's PCs here. So, yeah, that it's painful. It's painfully bad. Let's actually take a look at the RAM price, because it's been since Saturday since we looked. So we're going to double check the RAM pricing to see how it's looking. But it was just ugly. It was really bad. So yeah, timing was everything. Absolutely, it was. 8610. Yeah, that's even the cheaper Intel, the cheaper boards. The B5 860s also are more of the micro boards. So that's why you lose the lane and everything too. So, like, would a GPU run almost the same on a B860 and a Z890? Yes, they can run the same. It's more or so what you're looking for in the lanes that you want to take advantage of. That, and again, the back to the features too. It's also going to be a smaller board at B860. Now, the B610 is the cheapest of the cheap. Some of them don't feature PCI Express 5 if you look at them. Some of them will still have PCI Express 4, but you can take advantage of it if you would like. You wouldn't notice a significant difference if you're gaming, believe it or not. But if you're looking to really save a ton of money, that's the best way. Or just go get a Micro Center kit, like a bundle, or a Newegg bundle that you can get for a good deal. So I found some DDR5 64 gigabytes RAM, 400 USD. That's an excellent deal. Is it CL36? A great deal. Because right now the 6,000 megahertz have been holding strictly, hasn't changed. Oh, they got some new Kingston Fury, so if anyone has $4,000 laying around, there you go. You can get some 128 gigabytes of DCL28, and this is the ECC registered memory there. Mine was CL30. Oh, that's even better. So I bet you the AI is asking for more. Absolutely. You know it's going to ask for RAM. Just imagine you build a PC that features this 1000 AI. So if you guys are just coming in and not sure what the hell 1000 AI is, it's just a name I made up for NVIDIA's next generation. And if they come out with this whole 1000 AI, just imagine it says you need to install more RAM. You need a minimum of 192 gigabytes of RAM inside of your PC in order for this generative AI to work flawlessly. So what's the P in the Z890P? Yeah, it's the Z890P. It's more like, usually they throw those in in the entry boards, like the MSIs, ASUS. You'll see those weird letters. They might put A, they might put P. But there's not really any significant meaning behind the letter. But usually they're they call them MSI Pro or the Gigabyte Pro or the ASUS Pro. That's all that is really. Yes, exactly. Like a budget Z890. That's where those names come from. Now, the G-Skill Trident Z5 Royals, they've been holding steadily. The pricing on the RAM front hasn't really changed vastly. But let's go back here. Let's take a look again. The SSDs, that's the ones that you have to be concerned about today if you are looking to find any PC hardware. I highly recommend everybody, if you're looking for a kit, for example, just go with a full-on kit. Micro Center has great bundles. You could get a motherboard, a CPU, and you can get some RAM for $530. This is where ASUS Z890 as you wish gaming Wi-Fi motherboard here. Ernesto, great to see you. I've had experience with Ubuntu since 2010. Jumping back, isn't it a big difference though? From what it was back then. I gotta say, seeing how much it's changed, especially today, how accessible everything is compared to writing everything in the terminal. So I know you've experienced that before, where you would have to open up applications through the terminal. Yes, happy Wednesday. So let's not forget, NVIDIA produces more mid-range GPUs with entry-level VRAM. Yeah, and the crazy thing is, though, yes. Oh, yeah, for sure. I agree with you, Omar. But the crazy thing is, I think there's the largest shift, And the largest change that's going to happen when it comes to NVIDIA is I feel like when they go more for the budget side, it's not going to be as focused when it comes to the whole GPU side. Like, for example, you have GB202, which is going to be that's what RTX 5090 is based off of. So when you come out with a new series, when you come out with the 1000 AI or whatever it's going to be called, I truly believe that the lower budget models are going to have the larger NPU in it versus the GPU. And the reason why it's going to have the larger NPU is because it's going to be there to help generate local frames for when it comes to, say, for frames gaming. You don't get the true frames. It's just going to generate it for you to make it feel like you're gaming at high frames. And then when it comes to the graphical settings, now the GPU will still consistently try to rasterize all the of your game pretty much. It's just going to now also have the NPU, which is going to end up taking over, which is going to be locally and end up creating the photorealistic images for a cheaper GPU. So you're not really running much firepower. It's almost like you're creating more of an illusion more than anything when it comes to the newer budget cards, which I believe is the direction they're headed. But when they come out with the newer ones, like the high-end versions, like say it's called like a 1090 AI or whatever, then you'll have a large GPU practically with a just as large NPU with it. And then you're going to get like that true DLSS 5 experience. So I think that's where it's going to end up heading. So I tried to ask AI to understand megatransfers and megahertz. Like 6,000 megahertz is the same as 6,000 megatrans. Yeah, it's pretty much the same. Don't think too much on it. Megatransfers and megahertz are pretty much like on the same subject. I still use the terminal, but the terminal is I get more things on my desktop. Yes, and that's a nice thing about it. In fact, Kilobyte, he's been using you're on Mint now, right, Kilobyte, from what I remember, which is Ernesto. Eventually, you'll get to a point where you'll no longer need the terminal, but you still have a nice, good-looking terminal. And the crazy thing is, what we're talking about now is, like, if you ever used anything like Linux, originally you would have to use the terminal to open up your applications, open up your programs, install your programs, install your kernels, and doing everything that you need to update your system pretty much. But now it's become so well with its GUI, like where you're able to has its own store, pretty much like how Microsoft has its store to download applications. It also has its own program folder now. It had a program folder before, but now it's much more cleaner, where it's a lot easier to actually look up the programs that you're using and open them up. Same thing with the applications. It's just much more fluid. It's not as complicated as it once was. And over time, it's just going to consistently get better. So, G40 says, opinions on Apple's Mac lineup. My coworker praised it a lot. And do you think there's an alternative to Mac that's going to be on par with performance? Okay, so it depends what you mean by performance. Are you looking for what type of performance, like basic productivity type of performance, or are you looking for more, or so like say like if you're looking at for more for the content creation side? I'm assuming content creation side because I remember that's what you're into. If that is what you are into, I do have to admit they are excellent. Mac is definitely excellent when it comes to using things like Premiere or DaVinci, and the battery life is quite significantly better, especially with the MacBook Pros. Now, if you go with any of the lesser models, if you go to the regular, say, MacBook Air, it's not going to be as good. It won't be as great as, say, the M4 Max or an M4 Pro or any of those processing models, the ARM chips. If you go to like the base model M4, it's not going to be as great. At that point, you might as well just go with a Windows laptop, which is also as great. The only negative thing I do have to say when it comes to the Windows laptops, of course, is the battery life is going to drain quite a bit, especially if it has a dedicated GPU. Now, the true question that you're asking, is there really any equivalent to the ARM?
processor that that Mac has. And I can tell you that soon that there will be. The closest thing that we have right now is Panther Lake, but that's not going to truly outshine it. The only other one that you can truly wait for is wait for the whole NVIDIA and Intel chip to actually come out, because that's going to be quite the battery saver, and it's going to be great for anyone that is also interested in different things like production, because it will have all the power into one. And which kind of brings me up against the line here when it comes to the new whole Xbox Project Helios, which is going to be pretty much one large ARM chip. Same thing when it comes to PlayStation. I believe that's the same direction they're headed as well. So this Z890P is more like $1,200 where I live. Are you in Brazil? I got to ask you, for $1,200, you got to be in Brazil. That's insane. Because it's always the guys over in Brazil. I've been hearing the prices it's always crazy there, especially with the taxes. Not all of us are lucky. Micro Center might as well be in a different country. The reason, well, yes. Thank you for coming in. The 100% right regarding the battery life. I've noticed it a lot in heavy editing on site, and her Mac still has a lot more juice than my laptop. Yes, and that's the biggest issue, I gotta say. That's I've tested it thoroughly. I've tested it specifically on the Zephyrus. The Zephyrus, it works great. The G16, awesome laptop. The only negative I gotta say, because it uses a dedicated GPU, it just drains it. The most I could get is maybe 2 hours on Premiere, and that's like if I'm trying to be somewhat conservative. But if you end up like using it like a MacBook Pro and you're using it for hardcore editing, it takes like probably a decent 5 or 6 hours to drain it. So it has like nearly like double and a half battery life, if that is key for you, especially if you're on the go. So don't confuse it. Not all Linux distros have the App Store. Yes, that is true. I know, King Helios. I know $1,200 is a lot. Any news on the AMD 9850 thermals and power? Would it perform better than the 9800X3D using more wattage? It's practically the same, to be honest. The only difference between the two is that for the 9850X3D is you have a bit more speed when it comes to clock speeds. You have a decent, I think it's like a decent, what was it? About 400 or 500 megahertz of a difference when it comes to the CPU clock. But everything else is the same. Everything else is pretty much going to be similar, even when it comes to the L3 cache, which is their V cache. So you're not going to see a significant difference. So far, there hasn't been really any large cases of burning quite yet, but the same thing can happen. It just so happened at the same time when the 9850X3D came out, there was a lot of different updates for every single manufacturer when it comes to the BIOS. So I'll keep a close eye on it though, and I've got in contact to try to get my hands on another 9800X3D. Because we're going to obviously try to get that processor and put it inside of the ASRock B850 motherboard and see how well it turns out. And if it does burn up, I'll definitely let you know. Well, you'll see it. Gonna play Arc Raiders now. Nice to meet you. Just found out your channel. Thank you. Make sure you like and subscribe. Alex, what's up? I bought a new PC case and PSU. Awesome. What kind of PC case did you get? That's great. Constantly swapping out your PCs. I know you've been, I don't even know what your specifications are anymore. Champ, what's going on? Great to see you. Nice. How are you liking it? By the way? Because it seems that you haven't really put a lot of, excuse me, guys, just picking up I hurt my foot the other day, so now I'm trying to recover it. I was so pissed because I was supposed to hit up the gym like throughout this week, and I haven't got to hit the gym, so hopefully I can hit it up tomorrow. Does your Micro Center have the $200 motherboard RAM? Yes, it does. Let me check. He's specifically talking about the AMD bundle. If you guys are curious. Oh, yeah, here it is. So if you guys are curious, it's an AM4 board that actually has the AMD 5500, has the Gigabyte B550, and the Ripjaws 516 gigabytes, all for $200. Now, of course, you can also upgrade it to the 5800 XT. If you do, it's $300. And if you're looking to get into AM5, the cheapest bundle that they currently have is the 350 one, where it has the 7600X, which is the Asus B650. And it also has the G-Skill Flare X5, 16 gigabytes. Of course, it only comes with 1 stick of RAM. So, yes, I am. So, would the Asus ASRock board 9800X3D voltage spikes be solved with new firmware? Yes, it should be solved with new firmware. In fact, the way it's working now, AMD is working with all the different manufacturers, Asus, ASRock, Gigabyte, MSI, all the BIOS that you deal with when it comes to the front page or on your AMD motherboard is usually worked with AMD in order of figuring out on what the problem is. So far, there hasn't been any issues from what I've seen. Of course, if you have an Asus board, I highly recommend you to go to the new BIOS. Same thing with ASRock boards, especially. And now if you have a Gigabyte or a MSI motherboard, also just check just to be safe, just to be sure. What's up, NYC? Great to see you. Yeah, they're awesome deals. There's no way I'm seeing a $740 if I 5080 in this economy. Yeah, no. That I would question. I would 100% question it. The funniest things are looking on Facebook to see what they offer in deals. So MSI is definitely my favorite brand of all time. Awesome. I just bought a pair of Powerline network adapters. Yeah, you know, I'm glad you brought this up because this is one of those underrated things that most people don't look at. If you get a network adapter for your PC, you don't have to purchase one that comes with the motherboard. Sure, the motherboard might come with, say, say it has up to 10 gigabits per second connection. If you get the network adapter instead of the crappy Realtek network adapters, it makes a large difference. You wouldn't believe how different the speed is. Wi-Fi is too saturated where I live. You can never get a stable 5 gigahertz. I agree. I've never liked Wi-Fi on a desktop PC. And you know what? I'm going to throw that out as my question out there because I got to know. For everybody out there that does have a that has a PC, are you using Wi-Fi? And that is going to be the question. And let me know what your thoughts are. You put 1 for yes, 2 for no. Let me know if you're using Wi-Fi on your PC. I am curious to see how many people are actually using it. 2. Yeah, I used a network switch and Ethernet. Yeah, most people do. Yeah. Yeah, nobody does. That should be illegal. Just remove Wi-Fi off of a motherboard, please. That chip is no longer needed. Yes, I get it. We can use it for Bluetooth, but the Wi-Fi portion, just get rid of the Wi-Fi portion. Honestly, yeah. Yes, the Ethernet connection. Yes, mixed. I only used. Oh, really? No, no way. Am I? See, I wouldn't think you would use Wi-Fi, to be honest. Ernesto, I heard the Wi-Fi antenna is for, yes, that's what it's for. It's for the Wi-Fi antenna and Bluetooth. That's the only thing that it's really used for. So if you have problems with your Bluetooth, you might not have your Wi-Fi antenna hooked up correctly. And that could be the major reason. Like, for example, if you have an Xbox 360 controller, or not Xbox 360, now I'm going old school. If you have an Xbox Series X controller and it's not connected via Bluetooth, that could be the reason. It could be that you don't have your antenna hooked up to your desktop. That's one of the, it's a crazy reason why your connection isn't working, but it's valid. It's true. Like, if that is not connected, your Bluetooth connection will drop almost immediately. So I use fiber optic to 2 routers, my PC via Ethernet. Nice. I use Wi-Fi for my... that would make sense. I get direct Wi-Fi. That would make more sense to use it for direct Wi-Fi than actual using it for the internet. Fiber straight out of my router. I love that. Easier to route a cable through the wall than dealing with Wi-Fi. And especially when your Wi-Fi collapses. To be fair, I'm not doing a heavy task on a laptop anyway. Yeah, like anytime it's like for task on a laptop, I'm the same way. I don't really care as much. Like if I'm using it for more production usage, I'm going to end up using it for uploading it to my desktop anyway. Or I'll upload it through Wi-Fi maybe, and that's probably the biggest task I've ever given to a laptop. More sure, you guys love your Ethernet, but when I want to play video games on the toilet on my Android handheld, I'm not sure. Oh man, really? I thought everyone brings their Ethernet cord over to the bathroom with them. I gotta have a stable connection. I can't afford to drop it. For gaming, the Wi-Fi latency matters. I agree. That's the biggest thing. The latency is key. Computer is upstairs and the router is downstairs, and use Eternity with the work laptop. Of course not. You got to take. Yes. So that way, if the router has an issue, you can reset it right in the bathroom. Mr. Saga, that's one of the items I need to add to my build and network adapter. Any good suggestions regarding brands to go to or not? There's actually quite a few different ones. Let's take a look. We'll look at some network adapters here, see what they feature over at Micro Center. And specifically, we want to get some wired ones. Now, TP-Link's a decent one. Let me see. They got better ones than this one. Of course, you can go with ASUS here. You can go with the ASUS's. They're pretty decent. It's crazy how some of them are cost so expensive. Like how they're charging $100 for this 10 gigabit connection. Now, of course, if you got 10 gigabit connection, that's awesome. Then you can take advantage of it. TrendNet, definitely a better option. You can go. Let me see. Let's go realistically 5 gigabits, because I don't think that's all they have. Well, that's in my location anyway. But wait, you guys don't bring your router in the bathroom? You're doing it wrong. Yes, ASUS makes good networks, just don't get TP-Link. Yes, that's why I would say ASUS and TrendNet. They would probably be the better choices. TP-Link is okay. It's like the cheaper option if you're able to get a network adapter. I would use a power line adapter before Wi-Fi if I cannot run Ethernet. You know, it's funny because I was speaking to somebody and his biggest issue is not having a strong Wi-Fi connection. And it's funny if Ricky's listening into this because he knows I'm talking about him here. And the funny thing is, okay, he lives in a house where he has amazing internet. You're talking about he has very quick internet, and which I will explain in a bit. But anyway, in the area where he has his PC, he gets about 100 megabits for his download speeds. Yeah, 100 megabits for download speeds and 100 megabits for upload speeds. So he gets decent internet. It's not bad at all. It's quick, right? But he's kind of restricted to only Wi-Fi. So he ends up getting an extender so that way he gets better connection, and that's the most he can get is 100 megabits. So I recommended that he gets, if you're going to use Wi-Fi, get more extenders to really try to get a better connection, because the Wi-Fi router is pretty far from where he is. So instead, he didn't get it quite yet. I recommend it to get a straight Ethernet connection. And so I actually went to go speak to his dad, who was in charge of the internet connection. And I went to go check his internet plan just to see how quick it is. And this is how much internet he is losing. You guys ready for this? He has 2,000, right? He has 2,000 megabits per second, upload and download. So he's losing 20 times the connection that he would have. So isn't that crazy? So actually 200 times. So I actually recently upgraded my network. I switched over to Cloud Gateway Fiber Router. Use 7 Pro Access Point. I just hate how much they charge it. And that's the thing. I really hate ISPs that do that. Out of curiosity, who's everyone's ISP? I'm currently stuck with Comcast, unfortunately. I would love to switch over to fiber optics because that is literally killing me now. This whole the whole issue when it comes to fiber optics. I need it. I'm still stuck on the old school cable connected Frontier Verizon. So access points are better than extenders. Yeah, I mean, I think to be honest, that wired is better than extenders. I told him just get it to his room. Just put the wire to his room. For a LAN, I use 2 Netgear switches. Most motherboards have dual LAN ports, correct? One goes into each switch, 2 gigabytes per second, backbone, no need for smart switches. That's actually a great way to do it. And for those who want to do something like a NAS system, that's definitely the better way to do it too, because you can actually have it all in one. Verizon, you know, Destiny, I'm envious. I miss Verizon. I used to have Verizon a long time ago. Unfortunately, it's not in this area where I'm at. This wasn't ISP, so... Oh, okay. So you... Oh, I got you. Thank you for subscribing, Zadie. The thing is to note about extenders, an extender needs Ethernet connect. Yeah, pretty much. And the thing is, well, for him, because it's all the way his house is set up, it's all the way set like into like, say the router's in the living room, right? Where he's at is located all the way into the back of the house to the right. So for him to route it there, he would have to literally, because his living room is in the front, he would have to actually route it all the way through his house in order to get it through the back. So I suggested just friggin' drill a hole up on like down into the floor and just like kind of route it that way. He could do it or go through the attic. He has an attic where he could actually put it through. It would be much better to do it that way. It would be life-changing. 100% life-changing if he does this. No, he does not live alone, and that's the issue. But the thing is, his family doesn't really care if he does this. He just hasn't done it yet. He doesn't want this. Hasn't spent the time to do it quite yet. Yeah, the access point. So if he is the internet provider, can he run it around it? Yes, and that's the thing. He can run it. I told him, if anything, like he can contact them and say, hey, like he can have a separate line if he wanted to. Have them come out and put another line. That way he can have his own dedicated line, and he'll run into zero issues. And the funny thing is, he wants to do things, like he wants to stream and he wants to do these things, but sometimes his internet is limiting him from doing that. So hopefully he gets that situated soon. I'm sure he will. Man, it would be nice. It would be again a life-changing experience to see how quick his internet would be. He's gonna have to break down. Yeah, absolutely. You gotta do it. I mean, like, if it was me, I'd 100% do it. It's that much of a difference, and everybody here certainly knows how much of a difference low latency can certainly make for your PC. Now, I'm sure some of you guys are coming in here curious about this whole DLSS 5 phase. We were talking about much earlier about this whole Jensen Huang thing. You can feel free to voice your opinion if that is the topic you do want to discuss. You can feel free to mention down into the chat. Right now, we're just speaking about internet and how vital and how important it is to have decent internet, especially when it comes to either gaming or even just like for your work-related purposes. Having Ethernet is still king. Wi-Fi still cannot compete, unfortunately. And as you see with the survey here, nobody uses Wi-Fi on their PC. Just because it's just, even though we've gotten this advanced when it comes to Wi-Fi, we've hit up to Wi-Fi 7, it just doesn't make sense to continuously use Wi-Fi. So 200, yes, absolutely. If he's not running an Ethernet, will he try a power line adapter? Yeah. I gave him plenty of ideas. I recommended him like even running a mesh system practically to in his house, so that way he could have it bounce them pretty much bounce to one to the other. So he would have three different routers that pretty much bounce into each other. But again, it's I'd say still for him the best option 100% would be to wire directly to his PC. If he does that, it would again make the biggest difference. Now for deals, if anyone's curious about the deals at Micro Center, again, I'm excited for this whole Intel drop. It's supposed to happen next week. But for the cheapest deals for Intel, they only have the Asus Z890 as you wish board with the Intel 265KF, and it comes with the crucial 32 gigabytes of RAM. Now the 32 gigabytes of RAM is CL36, but it's $530, hard to beat. As I mentioned to everybody before, the best way to purchase RAM or purchase any type of memory component is to get it in a bundle. Unfortunately, we've passed the stage of where SSDs used to be really cheap. Unfortunately, SSDs are freaking expensive. 1 terabyte is equivalent to $200 practically in order for you to purchase an SSD. Yes, Ethernet under the floor or in the attic is best. I 100% agree, Destiny. Hopefully he does it. I really hope he does, because I would love to hear how much better his connection is once he does it. So if you look at the SSDs, just to show you how rough it's looking here. Let's see. Take a swig of water real quick. Ah, man. Taking a look at the pricing is enough to drive anybody crazy, because it makes no sense. Just imagine you have a laptop that you just simply want to upgrade your SSD. You want to upgrade your storage, but now you see the pricing, which I'll turn off the poll here. Which you see the pricing, $400 for a 990 is not normal. A 990 Evo Plus is $330, which is absolutely insane. And then you have the budget option, which is Clev, and Clev's at $170. And tell me how that makes any sense when it comes to SSDs. So, excuse me. So if you want to be able to game on your PS5, you want to upgrade your storage. It's almost the same price as a PlayStation 5. Let's look at the price of a PlayStation 5, and I'm pretty sure it's pretty much close to that NVMe price. $550, right? In fact, you could get one even cheaper if you wanted to. You get one for $500 if you go digital, but I don't think anyone goes digital for PlayStation 5 currently. So when you really think about it, and you wonderful. Resend. Okay, so when you really think about it, the price you're purchasing for some extra RAM is nearly the price of a PlayStation 5, which makes no sense. And unfortunately, you know what that type of indicator is for? If you see the price of a PlayStation 5 is $550, you can certainly expect that the next generation consoles, for those who do game on consoles, you can certainly expect the pricing to increase drastically. The new Xbox, when they do come out with Project Killers, is going to be projected to be costing around $1,100 to $1,200. The PlayStation 6, it's going to be just as costly. It's going to cost a ton of money. It's not going to be no longer $500 to purchase anymore. Expect it to cost maybe $900 to $1,000 when they come out with the next generation. And also, now the titles. Like when it comes to PlayStation, they have chose to end up holding out the titles for Sony. Strictly, all the PlayStation titles that they have upcoming are going to be strictly on PlayStation 6. So the hobby became too expensive, and now we all wish Oya came back. Oya, oh man. So if you guys don't know what Oya is, I'm going to just show you this legend here. The Oya, the one and only Oya, the legend. Remember, this was only $100. One of the best devices that you could get, and the world was just not quite ready for it. And the reason why the world was not quite ready for it, we were too used to our systems that we had already. We were too used to having Sony. We were too used to having Microsoft. We were too used to having PCs the way it were. This to us looks just like any other emulator that you would have. But now it's getting to the point where it seems that cloud gaming is now the forced way pretty much into gaming. In fact, like if you take a look at, say, LG's newest TV, which is the LG C5, it has the LG Gaming Portal. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the LG Gaming Portal, it looks like this. So the LG Gaming Portal looks just like here. You can play on the cloud. Now, I'm sure everyone's super excited about this, right? Everyone wants to game on the cloud, right? Says nobody. But anyway, you can be able to game on Xbox Cloud. You can game on NVIDIA's GeForce Now. You can use Luna. You can use any type of cloud gaming service that you would like, as long as if you had a certain speed of internet. I think the minimum for it was required was at least a 5 megabit connection was the minimum. But when I've tested this, when I personally gave this a shot, it did not play well. It, in fact, was quite pixelated. It did not clear up until like 2 or 3 minutes later. And the explanation I was given by the rep was that, oh, this doesn't normally happen. Usually it's better than this. That's not what we want to hear, because if I see this, I'm going to assume that this happens a lot more frequently than the rep actually says it does. So, well, when was the Ouya? The Ouya happened actually back in, what was it, 20? I would say 20, was it 2019? Maybe older. 2019 or 27? I'm about to look it up. It's actually maybe longer. Honestly, the Ouya just did too many mistakes. Developers had no big incentive to make exclusive games for platforms. Exclusive games and they cheaped out on the controller, mixed messages from the CEO. Yeah, and I think it would have ended up a lot more successful. I think the Ouya originally, when it first came out, I think it was $100. And that was the biggest selling point because of how cheap it was. Yeah, so it was a lot longer than I thought. Because I remember looking into this and thinking this might be actually pretty decent. But now, Ouya was the stupid successful Kickstarter. Yes. Yeah. Talk about Kickstarter campaigns. Maybe Ouya 2 will make a comeback. I wouldn't be surprised. Could you imagine that Ouya is the one that would end up putting NVIDIA on its face? Could you imagine that? Like if everybody started purchasing Ouya because everyone got sick and tired because nobody wanted DLSS 5 anymore. But instead it was forced down their throat to say that DLSS 5 is the future of gaming. But now Ouya comes back out. There you go. There's here. I'm going to go to Bob Barker's link right here. And let's take a look at it. We're going to take a look at this, and it's quite wild, in fact. Here it is. Yeah, there it is. And crazy. It pledged almost 8 million. Right here, if you guys see that, it's about 8 million. Let me see. Let me get it on you vertical guys there. So it got up to $8,596,474. So they had over 63,000 backers. And cracking open the last closed platform, the TV, a beautiful, affordable console built on Android by the creators of Jambox. Man, but you gotta, when you look at this thing, it does look like quite an amazing device. I mean, look at it. In fact, let's play it. Let's give us a throwback, and I'll enable the sound so you guys can hear it. Here you go, guys. And this was the Ouya back when it first came. Oh, let me bring it up here. Sorry, guys.
But more and more people are moving away from the television. There's a lot of focus today on the mobile and web platform. It's easier to develop games for those platforms than the television.
That is true.
Money. You have to
the development would make sense for Ouya actually, because again, it's pretty much based off of Linux.
Ouya is a new game console for the television that's built on Android, open source technology. It's an inexpensive game console for gamers. All the games are are free to try. Anybody that wants to develop a game for a television, we allow them the ability to do this. I've been a part of the game industry for a really long time. In the early days of gaming, you could take your Apple IIe, write your own programming, and take your game to market.
They had the chance to succeed.
As it is completely closed to the independent developer.
Oh, am I? I'm buffering?
Oh, wow. Is really just too much for us.
There's a lot of hurdles for developers to get games onto the television. Developing is extremely expensive. I love the television, and I want those games.
Oh, maybe I'm buffering because I have this up.
Great product.
Is it buffering now? I apologize for that. Is it buffering now? Hopefully it's not. Hopefully that cleared it up a bit. It says that there's no drop frames. Or maybe I got to go into YouTube and actually look it up. Maybe it just buffers a bit more on Kickstarter. Oh, and another thing is that they really messed up on was when they originally created the App Store. They originally created the App Store. All developers were required to have a demo for their game on the platform. Most people downloaded all the demos and rarely bought the full games. Oh, wow. Did you actually own the Ouya, Bob? I got to ask. Did you actually own one? I've always seen it, but I've never got to own it. That's pretty wild. It's a shame. Ouya needs to come back to life. Do you think there would? Now it kind of makes me want to look it back up. I did notes. You buffering any? I did not own a Ouya, but I was fascinated by it to buy them. Yes, Nvidia. It's funny that I just talked about that too, about the Nvidia Shield, and even Nvidia fails at their products, and that was one of them. It was decent. It actually held its own for like the first year. But then it just like dropped off. How did you feel about the Nvidia Shield? It's like saying the PSP was before its time. Yeah. Kind of, you know, the crazy thing is when Sony comes out with their new version of their handheld, I'm curious how well that's going to end up being. Because, but that is wild though. Like you actually ended up getting it all for the Nvidia Shield. Then they were going to come out with the second one, I remember originally, but they ended up changing their minds about it. But I'm really curious to see how the next generation, like when it comes to Sony, when they decide to come out with their handheld, is it going to be truly groundbreaking, or are they going to do the same failure once again, where they end up ignoring their own console? That's what happened with PlayStation Vita. Remember, guys? Like when they came out with this console, it was quite incredible. That was truly ahead of its time. I truly enjoyed the trackpad, like it had on the back of the system. And then the crazy thing is, they just ended up ignoring their own system. They didn't make games for it. That's the reason why it failed so miserably. The Shield TV was great until they forced ads on it, and they got rid of Nvidia in the home game stream and made the Shield TV less valuable. That makes a lot of sense. That's terrible. And you know, the crazy thing is, I can see DLSS 5 not going to be as nearly as great as they make it seem to be. I can see it flopping, to be honest. I don't see it. I see that they can make it better, but I think they were quite too early to announce something like this. Sure, we might be getting there in time when it comes to AI, when it comes to neural rendering, but to also emphasize it and put it into gaming, that's going to be quite different, especially if you're going to market it that way. And this is the failure part of, like, when it comes to Nvidia. If people are not looking for this in gaming, again, most people out there are not looking for a photorealistic type of graphics. Sure, that makes it look great, but the thing is, people aren't caring about that as nearly as much as when it comes to pricing. People much would rather pay a lower price cost instead of paying $5,000-$6,000 on a GPU that would have the capabilities of doing so. So if you don't remember, NVIDIA's game stream lets you stream the games from your PC, and that was the biggest selling point too. That was the main reason why I wanted an NVIDIA Shield, because I could do it directly to the TV. And how flawless was that, I have to ask. But now you can actually game streams directly from Steam, and it doesn't cost anything. Just don't use DLSS 5. Turn it yeah, just turn it off. I think we're gonna see a lot of people doing that.
Their reasoning for getting rid of it, Steam Link exists, but I'd argue that Game Stream still did it better. Oh, okay. So it did it better. Because I remember when they first did this whole game, game stream, in fact, it was supposed to actually boost the stream connection even better, even more, right? And here we go. Let's go back to DLSS 5. I know that's the big topic of today. And for those who are looking for the whole next generation of things, just like Starfield here, now you have this photorealistic look of when you're talking to, you're talking in Starfield. As we know, the models weren't that great. And it's personally not one of my favorite games anyway, when it comes to gaming. But anyway, the point is, now it kind of just looks like one of those cheesy cutscenes that you used to see back in PlayStation. Kind of reminds me of back in the day, if you guys remember this, is like when you played games like Mortal Kombat Mythologies of Sub-Zero. It kind of looks like a cutscene like that. Like one of those cheesy cutscenes. Boosted better? Not exactly, just NVIDIA encoders did more efficient. Oh, okay. Because, yeah, I couldn't quite remember how it worked. It's been quite a while since I looked into it. But I think when they came out, that was like their biggest thing, was that they claimed that streaming on the NVIDIA Shield, it would give you a better boost compared to what it would be if it was on Steam. So, and that was the first time I played Skyrim with the toilet. Oh, that's hilarious. I would have marketed DLSS 5 remastering just for the lighting in the decades-old game. Yeah, and you know what? That's what they should have done. Because, I mean, you take a look at this, you got FIFA. Well, this isn't, yeah, like FIFA right here. You got DLSS 5 here. They show all the newer games like this, but they don't quite show you it in action. So, I would love to see like older games like from the 90s to see how well it would handle it. And how would it truly handle games like if there were like cel shaded games. Hence like why I had to come out with that video like of that meme that I created about seeing like seeing a cel shaded game such as was it Kill Switch? I think it's called Kill Switch, where it's a cel shaded game, but then it makes them look realistic, which would be really odd. But DLSS 5 still brings a lot of questions and what its true purpose is. What would it mean for when it comes to frames? It's really hard to say. I think it was a bit premature to show this, as I know that they wanted to show something revolutionary. But I don't think this is what everyone is currently looking for, and most people feel that way. Now, some people are saying that the only people that are complaining are those that don't have a NVIDIA GPU. Now, of course, you may have some of those that are complaining that don't have a NVIDIA GPU, but the ones that actually do have it are not really looking forward to something like this, to be honest. We can't call it FIFA anymore. It's called EA. Oh, that's why. That makes more sense now. That's. I was about to buy a used PS Vita with the OLED screen. And that's what I mean. It's crazy, right? Like what it originally had. DLSS 5 remaking Silent Hill 1, that would be interesting. Yes. Like something like Silent Hill 1 or something that was... Just imagine, let me see. I think they actually did this, which was pretty funny. Like seeing like GTA 3. Right? The original GTA 3, and you see it get remastered in DLSS 5. RAM shortage, GPU shortage, I know. And that's what we were joking about. We were saying, watch them say that you're going to require a bit more RAM to do this. It's going to be quite a demand, like to be able to run this really well. Of course, it's going to have to require a neural processor, and then you're going to have expanded RAM. So if you have everything into one, you have a GPU that is created into one where it has MPU, and you have a GPU, and you have the VRAM, but then your PC is also going to require extra RAM. It's not going to be cheap. So for those unaware, EA Sports and FIFA failed to reach an agreement over licensing fees. So now 2024 EA can no longer use. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. Everybody's still been calling it FIFA, which is crazy. I wonder when the FPS hits. What will be when it comes out, and that's what I mean. Just imagine how much of a hit the FPS would take, especially if it's in the middle of neural rendering. Well, as Jensen Huang says, it's not really rendering, but essentially it is. It's just it's definitely going to require a lot more out of your system in order to be able to get this achieved. So to be able to pull it off on the console level is also going to be quite the feat. And it's, again, one of the reasons why consoles are going to go up in pricing. Not just because of the RAM and SSD pricing, because you have new technologies that are going to force the pricing of RAM to just go up tremendously. So, I know, can't afford two 5090s. You know what? Just like good old Jensen Huang says, if you can't get two 5090s, then just get out my face. Just don't even bother with DLSS 5. And good thing I kept my physical media, Xbox 360. Exactly. All of us are just going to go back retro gaming once again. And the DLSS 5 thing requires a huge driver to do the same. Effects and comfy UI. You need 30 gig. So expect NVIDIA drivers to become large. Or yes, that absolutely correct. So with the cost of making a game, imagine the game now being 20. Yeah, you really don't need much of a team anymore. Needs to buy more NVIDIA GPUs to make this look uncanny. I mean, it does look good for a commercial. Yeah, for a commercial. But we have yet to see the actual gameplay. And that's what I think most people do question. And I feel like we're not going to actually see the gameplay until probably Computex. Maybe Computex is the next time we see something from them. If you can't buy two 5090s, just rent them. Yeah, and just Alex, great to see you. Nah, it's crazy too, because it's like, just imagine you go ahead and go to Computex and you're like, hey, can I still be able to do this DLSS 5 if I don't have two 5090s? And they're like, yeah, just get out of here. Go to AMD or something. Can you imagine them say that to you, like at the booth? Like, oh, you don't want two 5090s? Then just get out of here. Go to AMD or something. So, as a matter of fact, you know what? Go over to the GeForce Now booth. So for a low price of a subscription to yeah, you know what? You get 1 month free, or like you pay $1 for the first month, and the second month you pay about $59.99. Which is, by the way, they didn't limit one of the GeForce Now plans to one. Yes, they did. They absolutely did, which is the wild part. I'll actually show it here. They limited the GeForce Now plan. It's insane. Take a look at this. You really wouldn't believe it. Okay, so premium members only features. Okay, we get that. Let me go down here. So they have, let's first go over the free side. So if you get the free version, right, you can have access to 2,000 games, 1 hour gaming sessions, and up to 1080p. And there's no priority access in the queue. And you just get a very basic rig, and it has ads. Yuck. Can you imagine gaming with ads? So the next one, you get the performance. Side, which you only pay $100 for 12 months. Now you have access to 4,000 games. You get up to 1440p. You get 60 frames. You also get the priority access. Yay, right? So you get 28 gigabytes of DRAM versus an 8V CPU, which is practically like probably like a 4070. NVIDIA RTX ray tracing, 100 hours premium monthly playtime. There you go, 100 hours. And then it gets better. Wait till you check the ultimate package. And then when you take a look at the ultimate package here, work will start paying in tokens. And yeah, they're going to start asking for tokens. You can only use so many tokens to use the DLSS. So up to 5K, you get 240 frames per second. and you get up to NVIDIA's RTX ray tracing, and you get 100. Okay, so this is even better now. You get 100 hours of premium monthly playtime, and you get HDR10 and ultra wide monitor support. So you don't get ultra wide monitor support in regular performance mode, but you do get it in ultimate, which will only cost you $200 for 12 months. So it's affordable in a sense where you just pay $200 for the year and you're pretty much good. Yes, up to 15 hours of unused playtime can be rolled over. Oh my gosh. Our ads at the start and the end. You know what will probably happen? Can you imagine you're in the middle of you're fighting like say like you're in Resident Evil and you're in the middle of fighting the spider, right? You're fighting the spider as Leon, and then all of a sudden the spider's about to attack you and an ad pops up, and the next thing you know, the ad's over and you're dead. AMD announced that they signed a memory of understanding with the Samsung to align primary HBM4 supply for the next generation AMD AI accelerators and other AMD AI. Yes, and that goes back to the whole AI race, and AMD is one of the ones that are attending it. Wait, that's 85. Yeah, 85 hours. So if you're not playing at least 75 hours, at least 80, yes. You got to play at least 85 hours. Also, the link you posted saying 8-hour gaming sessions, so you can't play long. Yes. You can't play any longer than that. And also, you'll revert back into the free mode if you go over the 100 hours. You'll start to get the ads again. But I appreciate you, Alex, for coming in. For everyone that came in at 8, I apologize. I'm just about to get ready to sign off here. I do appreciate everyone here that has entered the stream. Hopefully you enjoyed this dearly. We'll definitely look into this whole DLSS 5 more and try to get some more answers. If anyone has any questions, feel free to let me know in Discord. If you're not part of the Discord, please feel free to join. It's absolutely free. And make sure to like, subscribe, or follow for more. And thank you guys again for coming into the wonderful stream. You know what? This would actually be perfect time to start. Yes, we got to bring back LAN. Make LAN have a strong comeback again. That would be great. I highly miss having LAN parties. We won't have time to game working for those 5090s. I know that people don't like 100 hours, but that's like 3 hours a day. Think of it as the biggest great. You know, one more thing let me throw in there real quick about this whole thing about like the whole NVIDIA. The funny thing is, like, even though that what they'll probably do is say, if you get two 5090s, and they'll probably make a deal with you that they can use one of your 5090s for GeForce Now, and that you can be able to get paid. They'll make it seem like a great deal. You can get paid for the time that it's being used. You'll probably get paid like at the most maybe like $50 at the end of the month. Can you imagine that? They beat the crap out of your 5090 for $50 a month because they're borrowing your 5090 to fulfill the needs of the server. So I'm going to look up some local retail space right now. Yeah, let me know. I'm curious. You got me curious there. HDR10 isn't even real. Well, it's NVIDIA's selling point, though. So, fam, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I do highly appreciate it, guys. And of course, if I stream any earlier, you guys will get the notification, as I always stream on Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. Eastern. Thank you guys again so much for watching. This is Chris Mizo signing out. Have a great night, guys.